What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and this is my review of Andor episodes 1 through 3. I have to say, I actually enjoyed these first 3 episodes of Andor. I know a lot of mixed reviews are coming out about it right now, but I had a good time. I thought that this is exactly what I've been looking for in terms of a Star Wars series. You know, just right off the bat, the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for this type of stuff, you know. Something that's more adult, something that it feels like it's not made for the little kids, okay? Your little kids probably are going to be bored to sleep, but adults can enjoy a series like that. It's a political thriller. It's a slow burn political thriller. It feels like it jumped right out of the 70s, right? When you had stuff like All the President's Men and The Marathon Man, 3 Days of the Condor. And Andor, and Cassian Andor, I should say, is exactly the kind of protagonist that you would see in those particular movies. He doesn't come off as a two-fisted hero, okay? He's kind of like an anti-hero. He's kind of like, leave me alone, don't bother me, I'm just here doing my thing. Okay? And then what happens is he gets caught up, of course, in the shenanigans of the time, right? He gets caught up in an issue where he's looking for his sister, can't find his sister, he gets accosted by a couple of guards, one thing leads to another, bad things happen, next thing you know, he's on the run, okay? That's basically the standard setup for an anti-hero that's in a political thriller. He sets the story in motion, of course, but then it's him reacting to everything that's happening around him. It's like 3 Days of the Condor, if you guys remember, if you ever saw that film. Robert Redford does not move the action for the first half hour of the film, okay? He's basically reacting to everything that's happening around him, and he's trying to devise a plan of survival. That's basically what happens. Same thing here. So there's a lot of interesting characters that are going to come into play here. You're going to get a lot of political theater, political machinations going on in the Empire. What's it like behind the scenes where you watching these go-getter types that are trying to rise up to the Empire? What's it like for them? What kind of things are they going to have to do? Like, that kind of stuff is intriguing to me. It's kind of like a behind the scenes look at, hey, here's what the Empire looks like. And we haven't even really gotten to the Empire yet, right? So far, we're just dealing with this security team in a corporate town. But one of the characters, whose name is Syril Karn, he is like this highly ambitious go-getter type man. He wants to make a name for himself. This guy is fascinating because not only is he highly ambitious and he's a go-getter, but he's kind of like weak, and he's kind of, you know, unfamiliar with being that man of action. Kind of reminds me of Gorman from Aliens. I don't know if people remember that particular character, but he reminds me of Gorman from Aliens, which was, you know, the same kind of guy, just ambitious, you know, go-getter type, but he's never really been in any real action, so he doesn't know how to really talk the lingo. He doesn't feel comfortable in that space. Andor's challenge is going to be interesting, right? Because, you know, he kind of has this dark past, which includes, you know, kind of being a disappointment, pissing people off or pissing off the wrong people, not really handling business like he should have, always just kind of living on the fringes. And now he's about to get caught up in something major, and he's going to have to, you know, use all of those skills that he's learned throughout the years, his wits, his intelligence, you know, maybe a help from some friends that he's made upset. He's going to have to use all of that kind of stuff to kind of propel him to the next level. It's going to be interesting to see how they use this particular character, and I'm fascinated to see what they do with him. Like, okay, and this isn't going to be your typical Star Wars show, obviously. This isn't going to be an adventure serial from the 40s and the 50s, okay? That's not what this is going to be, which is what Star Wars generally has kind of always had, that feeling of being an adventure serial. You're not going to hear that, you know, John Williams theme. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's not happening here, okay? This is dark. This is depressing. This is a different kind of show. And as much as I'm enjoying this, it is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Lots and lots of narrative flaws in here, including the flashbacks. Let me just say this, like, the best way to handle flashbacks to me is just to get them on out the way as soon as possible. You know, you got a backstory that you're trying to tell, and I understand that it is important to Cassian Andor's character that this backstory be revealed out, but you have to do it in a different way. I do not like the way they, you know, same thing with Boba Fett. I said the exact same thing with Boba Fett. I do not like the way they lay out these backstories, these flashbacks. It just doesn't work for me. It may work for some, it's just not my cup of tea. I would prefer to get that stuff out of the way and trust that the audience is going to remember the key events that you just laid out to them, okay? That's part of, like, trusting that your audience is going to follow along with the stuff that you laid out at the beginning. And then you could do a callback. If something happens later down the line that's supposed to call back to the stuff that happened at the beginning, you just show it, okay? Boom. Oh, a little quick flash. Oh yeah, that's right, I remember watching that scene. Something like that would have been a lot better than what they did. So from Karn, we moved to Skarsgård. He plays this character called Luther. And look, Skarsgård is a godsend to the Lucasfilm and to this particular franchise. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. I mean, this guy is a living legend in my opinion, as far as an actor. It's kind of like having Werner Herzog just kind of pop up in The Mandalorian. It's like, holy crap, this is awesome. You know, we don't get to see much of him in the first 3 episodes. He kind of appears mostly in episode 3, but what we get is just absolutely phenomenal. His first meeting with Cassian is extremely tense. It's interesting, and unlike Marvel, Star Wars, I have a feeling, is going to use this character to his fullest potential. We're not going to just get him short-circuited, you know, in the middle of a show. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with him. Adria Arjona, I'm always mispronounce her name. She plays Bix. Bix is a kind of like Cassian's fixer, you know, the person that he runs to, says, hey Bix, I need some help, I need you to, you know, sell this object for me, or I need to run a job for you, or something like that. She's that kind of a character to him. You know, they can tell they have some kind of a friendship, relationship, whatever, but for the most part, I'm not really like seeing much in her character. I want to see her character kind of develop a little bit more. We really didn't get that much out of her, other than her just being upset that Andor is in trouble again. I want to see that character, you know, get a little bit more interesting than what they've given us so far. Sergeant Linus Mosk. Man, this guy is my favorite character. If maybe my second favorite character next to Karn so far. Love this guy character. He's that standard, dutiful, hard-nosed, no nonsense bad guy, right? We've seen that kind of guy before, you know, yes sir, you know, that kind of a character, and he's going to make sure that he's by the book and he knows the ropes. He's been on these streets before. He knows how to deal with people, or maybe he doesn't, you know, maybe he's just kind of the polished up, better version of Karn. We don't know, we'll have to see, but man, like this guy character, I absolutely can tell this dude is having a blast playing this character, because I know you could see it in the way he just portrays it all the way out. Love this character on screen, enjoying them, looking forward to more. But yeah, and then there's other smaller roles they really haven't fleshed out very well. You know, they're just kind of there for, oh, Andor needs to talk to a guy about a thing. Here's a guy he's talking to. He comes into contact maybe with them once or twice throughout the first couple of episodes, so you get the feeling that they might be a big character, like this guy Brasso, who is his friend at work. It seems like he might be a big character, but we don't know. We'll have to see how that all plays out. The small details of world building are also great, okay? The world building here is done very well. This town of Ferrix, or this planet of Ferrix, feels 100% authentic, right? It's way more than I could say for that planet Navarro back on The Mandalorian, which always felt to me like a couple of sound stages that just got smashed together, okay? This thing feels like authentic. It feels real. The people in the town feel real. It feels crowded. It feels congested, dirty, you know, like a real city. They've done a good job of giving it like an authentic feel, like, yeah, this is what a little outpost corporate security town in this galaxy would feel like. The tone also, I feel, is just perfect. Again, and let me just say, on the whole, this is what, again, Disney should be doing. They should be giving us more adult fare. They should be cranking out different types of shows that have more of an adult tone. Everything, yes, I get that Star Wars is for kids, but again, we've had, you know, 40 plus years of Star Wars. Like the kids back in the 70s and the 80s that grew up with Star Wars, they're all like in their 40s and 50s by now. It's time to start giving them a little something to reward the fans that have been around and have been giving you their money for decades and decades. You know, give them some love too. I think that this show can do that. It feels like we're going to be coming across territories and situations and peoples that we've never come across before in the Star Wars galaxy, and I think that's very refreshing, okay? Because Star Wars always felt like it was made in this box, and we only deal with the same people all the time, and now it's time to get outside these boxes, break these walls down. Let's see what the other parts of the galaxy look like. That's very important to me. Like I said, my only gripe is really just with the backstory stuff. You know, Cassian as a kid, you know, on this, you know, kind of remote planet, indigenous peoples dealing with finding this downed starship. That was really the only thing that I thought really didn't work. And you just get all of that stuff out of the way in the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the first episode. Done. All right, let's tell our story. That's actually what I want to see. But yeah, they're moving it at a very careful pace, right? They're setting up the tone. Setting up the world, setting up the characters, setting up the stakes that are involved. I'm enjoying that. They got Cassian wanted for murder, trying to buy himself out of the corporate sector of the galaxy, coming into conflict with everyone and everything while being pursued by a very impulsive and ambitious security officer who also wants to seem to make a name for himself. The setup in the first 3 episodes is definitely slow. It is methodical. It is heavy on the dialogue and the talking parts. It's world and it's character building. That's what it is. It is building character and it's building world. I mean, and you can even make the argument that it might be a little too slow. They could have sped up the pace a little bit or given us a little bit extra. But I think this was important to set up in this fashion because this isn't going to be your typical Star Wars story. So I think it's important to lay that out right away. Hey, this might be a lot slower than you expect. This is going to be a political thriller set in the Star Wars universe and written by one of the best political thriller screenwriters of the day. All right, as far as writers in this particular genre, Tony Gilroy is top shelf. There's no doubt about it. Now, will it work? You know, so far it's not a bad beginning. I think, you know, we're about 1/4 of the way through the season, at about the 1/4 of a movie, which is about the half-hour mark of a 2-hour movie. You know, this is kind of the pace that you would expect. You wouldn't expect to get to everything right away, but you expect a couple of thrilling moments and then really just building out the characters so you know who they are. I think that's what we've gotten so far. So, you know, I'm enjoying it. You know, I like slow, methodical movies that really set up a good story anyway, so I'm down for this. This is perfect. I don't have to have all the bells and whistles quite yet. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it because I do think that Lucasfilm does need to make more shows like this, and I hope that more and more people ask for things like this. Look, if we could get the Book of Boba Fett, we can get Andor, and you know, we should be good with that. But we're in a good spot, I think. You know, things do need to pick up at this point, but we'll see where it goes from here. Anyway, folks, what did you think about the first 3 episodes of Andor? Go ahead, give me your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below, and thanks for watching. See you next time.